Welcome to the podcast, guys, with Rob and Nando. Tonight's another special night. We have a special guest and a lovely lady in the house. So we will have you introduce yourself. Before you do so, make sure you state your name, age, occupation, nationality, and relationship status.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course.
My name is Ikat. I'm also known as Sensei. I am from Kazakhstan. It's Western Asia, part of Russia. I am 24 years old, and I am a full-time bartender at the current moment. And, yeah.
Did we miss one thing? Do we have one more thing?
That's pretty much it. Where's the nickname from, if I may ask?
The nickname Sensei is something that I decided to choose when I thought I was going to pursue music.
Okay.
It means master, and I liked it because
That was going to be the artist name?
it is.
Mhm.
I thought about changing it, but then there was so many things in life that told me not to just kind of keep it. But it's like I think of it as a master of all elements, like the Avatar, you know?
No, that's a cool name.
All right. So welcome, ECAT, to the podcast. So let's get into it. What do you have in mind to bring up to ECAT?
Yeah, so let's open it up. So the first question for you is, in your opinion, what do you think is the bare minimum that men have to bring to the table to be considered boyfriend material, dating material, in terms of status, how much they make? What do men have to bring to the table?
I think that a good man should bring his honesty to the table first and foremost. But I also think that a woman can inspire a man to work harder as well as pursue his goals. And that's how you know that that may be the woman for you, as well as, you know, that might be the man for you. I think a lot of women have the misconception as a guy not making enough, maybe not being enough for them. But I think throughout time, and if they work hard, you know, they can get to a point, not just by themselves, but with you, together as two.
What would you say is like the most common disqualifier? Like, what's the most common thing you hear other women say? Like, oh, I went on a date with this guy and like, boom, what's that like biggest, most common turnoff? Is it more financial? Is it personality wise? How his style?
Probably personality. They say, you know, he's just trying to take me back home.
Okay.
And even though that is like a knocker, I still feel like maybe the guy is so enticed with you, he wants another piece of you after. Am I a supporter of that? Not really personally, but I feel like a way that a woman can actually check if he just wants to sleep with her or not is like, okay, I'm not going to go home with you, but are you willing to see me next week? We can go get another date. And then if the man decides to pursue that consistently.
So it's more like I'm getting the vibe that this guy's just trying to use me as like a one night stand and ditch me or block me type of thing.
Yes. And
Okay.
dating in this generation, as you guys know, is not
Toxic.
that easy.
It ain't it.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
How long have you been single for?
Situationships here and there, but if I had to say, I probably have been single for maybe like 5-6 years, a long time. I had a very, very sad breakup, and but it made me stronger. And I feel like a lot of women these days do not heal themselves, and then they go and they pursue another person, and they tarnish their mental health. They start thinking that this is okay without realizing that unless you heal those traumas, then you can actually go ahead and decide to pursue someone else and it having to be successful. Because a woman can be with a man and then break up with him, find another man, and then it's like the same.
The cycle
issues.
continues.
Yeah, it's like never
Yeah,
ending.
that's true.
What's the biggest problem you've encountered with the guy?
Probably dishonesty. And I have such a really flowing personality where I feel like I want it to be a safe space, you know? Even if you do something wrong or you feel like you were unfaithful or you were thinking about it, I think if you come to me, you know, like a man, and we sit down and have a conversation about it, that's a bigger turn on than, you know, having to argue later. And then it's just like you have to like when you grow up, you understand you have to just really communicate, because you know, it happens. It's life.
So you were with someone and they lied to you or cheated on you, or cheated on you and lied about it, or what did they lie about?
Going out, going to the strip club, you know, and it's just like, I'm not going to be mad. You just have to just say, hey, this is what's, and it's like, a woman is going to be more secure if she receives a message like, hey, beautiful, I wanted you to know I'm going out with my boys, you know, and then that person shoots you a text when they leave, when they get there, and then obviously you don't want a guy to have a ruined boys' night. You don't want to consistently spam his phone. He's obviously busy. He's enjoying the moment. Maybe like just have an upkeep of like communication back and forth, and then he's going to come home to you. But I feel like a lot of men, they will try to pursue a girl, and then it's called have your cake and eat it too. I'm sure you guys have heard that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. We use that. I mean, do you do the same? Like if you went out with your girls on a girls' night, would you check in with him as well? Would you reciprocate?
Probably not.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that guys are going to expect you to reciprocate. If you're going to check in on him, he's going to want to check in on you and make sure you are not going off and cheating or doing something dishonest, as well as a guy that is secure about his relationship. He's actually either not going to say no girls' night out, or if you go out with your girls, I'm going to be there too. Because if you're out there, you have the ability to cheat. I mean, girls' night, you know, you have options with guys around because you are with your girls, but there will be guys trying to hit on you and trying to go further than that as well.
Yeah, I mean, what I usually hear is women will say that, like, oh, my ex was insecure because he kept wanting me to check in, or he wanted my I think asking for location is a little bit crazy, but you get the point. Like, they think men are insecure because they act that way, but I don't really believe that's true. I think when a man checks in with you, it's, if he didn't care about you, he wouldn't care where you were or what you were doing.
Exactly. Like,
Women take it the wrong way.
Don't you think him checking in shows that he cares about you, so he wants to make sure that things are working out? Wouldn't you prefer to have that rather than him just say, hey, you say, hey, I'm going out with my girls, and he's like, okay, cool, have fun.
Yeah.
So you rather him check in with you, make sure you're good.
If he's going out, like let's say it's like a regular club or some place that I know, which I know so many spots, you know, but if it's like a place that I don't know and it's suspicious, I kind of already have like the answer. But for me, I move so loyally where it's like I've also had people kind of not ask. And it's not that I don't get offended, but it kind of also shows me like this is someone that understands I keep my word, because repetition also gets annoying. That's one of my biggest pet peeves.
What's that?
Repeating myself more than once. Oh my God.
Oh,
I don't
gotcha.
know why.
Okay.
But
Of course, same here. I don't want to say the same thing over and over again. It goes in one ear, out the other.
Right.
But the thing is that typically a guy, for him to make sure that the relationship works out, he's going to want to check in with you. So it might be something that, it should be something that you're open to in the future. At least if you're doing your girls' night, it might be tough to do a girls' night with a relationship, straight up. It might be tough.
I think most guys wouldn't be cool with it, only because they've heard the stories and they know like what goes down. Like if she's going to like Miami,
oh, forget about it. If she goes on
you
a
get what
girls'
I'm
trip,
saying? So
I've never been to Miami. Fun fact.
it's fucking over though.
a
If you
virgin.
go,
Miami, Vegas.
you're not celibate. Don't say that.
I'm a Miami virgin.
If your girl goes to
That
Miami,
might be different. Okay.
you're gonna be like a nervous wreck the whole time because you already know what. She's not going down there to like read books and
Come on, she's going down there. There's going to be guys
party.
around. You're going to party with your girls. You're going to get laid. Things are going to happen.
I mean, look, I was in a situationship, and my mom, she lives in Florida, and she's like, "Come see me," and then I was like, I might just stop by Miami, and the other party was like, well, why? And I was like, I've never been there, but when you said how girls use insecurity,
that's something I hear a lot.
From men as a tactic, like,
is it a manipulation tactic?
But some girls do really go out when they're not single and they really don't pursue anything.
You know what? You're bringing up a valid point.
Look, there's women
Maybe-
that are single that go out and like they like the attention and like they're gonna pick and choose. But there are some women like that get off from just being single, going out and getting the attention and not allowing anyone to pursue them as well.
I agree with you. I think not all. We just had this conversation with our last guest. We asked her, like, do all women want to be approached when they go out? And she was like, well, it's 50-50. Some girls want to be approached and some girls just want to go out and have fun, and they're not really there for that. I think the reason men don't want their girl going is because they know how men operate, and they know damn well that no matter what she's there for, she's going to be getting hit on. Guys are going to be trying to get at her. I think that's where it is. So
Exactly. Without a doubt. I mean, I'm not going to take, for example, if I have a Lambo, I'm not going to take it and put it in a spot where it's at risk to get broken into. It's the same idea. You let your girl go out for a girls only night out or girls only vacation, and you're putting her out there. You're letting her put herself out there at risk of other guys coming up to her, hitting on her, and lo and behold, the night is going to end up a lot of fun for them.
If a girl, so you're talking about like girls' vacation, right? Well, what about boys' vacation?
I mean,
Is that a double standard, sir? Sir, patron?
well, it should be.
honestly, if I was in a relationship, I don't think I would go on a guy's trip at that point. I don't think it's really
What about like a bachelorette party?
okay. Interesting. That's
Would
an
you
interesting.
cheat on your future wife at a bachelorette party?
Would I cheat?
There's so much cheating that happens on the bachelorette parties.
I think so too. I think I
Yeah,
like
I
just came to that like conclusion, like not even like from where I work, but I just like there's no way.
If you're gonna have a bachelorette party, fine, but have it with it should be the girls and the guys together. I guess have the bachelorette and bachelor
That's a
party
healthy
together.
way, yeah. If you really don't want to get cheated on, but I think all men just like want to get laid one.
That's where the wild.
Time
That's where the
before
wild
there's
shit goes
fuck.
down, right?
I mean, it happens. It happens when they go off and the girls go off. They're gonna get
Do
laid.
you have an experience? Because it sounds like you have experience. Did you get laid by a woman that was supposed to be married to?
Well, I prefer not to dive into myself. I've been through many experiences. We all have, but I've also seen many things happen as well. And I wouldn't want to put myself in the shoes where if I'm getting married, which again, we don't advocate for here on the podcast, guys, because there's no advantage to men for getting married. I say that all the time. But in the case that men do get married, which it happens, men and women get married, they're engaged, they have the bachelorette party or the bachelor party. It shouldn't be them going off on their own and doing their thing because they're putting themselves at risk for cheating. It's going to happen, and it happens all the time.
I was gonna say, I think to answer your question, like, would I cheat? I think I would gauge like whoever I'm with. I would just look at what she's about to do and gauge my level and match what she's doing. Like, oh, okay, you're going to a male strip club. We're going to a female strip club. Makes sense. Like, I would just match it to that way. If we cheat, we both cheat equally, I guess.
The only thing is, what's the point of the marriage? You're
Exactly.
you're getting into a commitment.
Exactly.
You're engaged. You're committed to each other. You're making a pact that's it. There's nobody else. It's just you two. No matter what party, what bachelor or bachelor party, even for the guys.
I'm
Even
sure
for the
weddings
guys.
get ruined over that type of shit. I'm sure it happens, right? We're like the bachelor.
Or like when like the groom is like late to walk in and he's like with like the maid of honor like in the bathroom or something.
Yeah,
That's, like,
yeah,
my
there's-
biggest fear.
Like
Oh
in
my
the
God.
movies.
No, it happens. It happens
But
where like
it
the best
happens.
man sleeps with the bride or vice versa. Like,
That's what I'm saying. All kinds of shit happens.
That's
I've seen it
crazy.
happen. I've
That's
seen
crazy.
it happen. I just know that I've seen it a couple times in the movies, and it plays out like that in real life. You don't want to risk that.
so let's get into that since we're on the topic. What's your thoughts on marriage? For it, against it? Is it something you're looking for? Is it kind of optional? Still up in the air?
Dun, 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 dun.
I think you have to think of marriage really deeply because a lot of people, they just want to, either they need attention or they want to get laid or they don't know what they're doing. Because the one thing that I see people do is they will commit to each other and then they'll want to get married and then they have two different career paths as well. Then you have schedule. Maybe it could be a different state. It could be a different country. And then you never know if both of the parties have a really well steady income. Like, what if someone gets an opportunity and then they have to move? Like, the time management has to be there. And I think when you fix your time management in life, like with your hobby, your career, your family, then maybe there is time for marriage. Because if you don't even have that time, like just discipline, you're never going to be even in like a successful relationship, in my opinion.
Well, it tends to be where women force guys their hand, either put a ring on my finger or I'm going to break up with you. So do you think forcing a guy to get married is it at an advantage to a woman or at a detriment to a potential relationship?
I think women should never force a man's hand. I think the proof is in the pudding, and what's not for you is not for you, I think you just have to, everything happens for a reason. And I think there's nothing worse, like a woman can force a man and get married, and then she's going to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. And in his head, he's going to be like, but you wanted this, and then she could just break his heart for no reason.
Oh, absolutely. And I think
like,
that's
not
the
nice.
most common fear amongst men is like, it's not that, most men are against marriage, but a lot of men are kind of like backing away from it for that exact reason, because let's put it all on the table. You buy the ring, you got to do the wedding, spend the money on a videographer, photographer. You're going to go on a honeymoon. It costs a lot of money. It's a big commitment. It's life-changing. It's legally binding. And if shit goes south, she'll walk away with half your stuff, or if you have kids, she'll probably walk away with the kids too, and the guy kind of gets screwed. And like you mentioned, guys don't talk about it that much, but also the emotional, baggage along with that.
It's point blank, guys don't want to be forced into marriage, and if you force something, it tends to go wrong.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense.
Agreed.
So it's good that we're on the same page with that, because a lot of women, I've seen some women recently force their guy, you have to marry me or we're done. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, usually it'll happen like you're 3, 4, 5 years into the relationship, and like, correct me if I'm wrong, I want your opinion on this. Do you think some women will leave their guy if they don't show them that they're gonna propose to them? Like, is that something that would happen, where a woman's like, yo, I've been dating this guy for 5 years, he hasn't bought me a ring yet. I'm gonna give him one more year, and if not, I'm out.
Maybe you've seen one of your friends do it, or somebody you know.
5 years is a long time. I mean,
3 years.
Honestly, like I said, communication. She should just communicate and say calmly and nicely, the healthy way, what's going on. And then she should just take that with a grain of salt and then kind of make her own decision. But I understand where you guys are coming from 100%, because she could freaking be with him for 5 years, but maybe he just started saving up for that ring 2 years ago.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of women, they're not grateful,
Right.
and it happens. But
It's a scary thought for guys, because they get into that commitment not knowing what the outcome will be. They'll be forced into something, and then they're not comfortable. You get married, the government is right in there, because when you sign off, the government has a say. And then if something goes wrong, some small fight, divorce, then like you said, guy loses half of his stuff. You have alimony, you have child support if you have children.
yeah,
There's a lot at stake.
So many things. So that's why we always say guys shouldn't get married, and women should not force a man to get married.
But
It's not going to work out for her either sometimes.
there is one problem that I've noticed, is that a lot of, because I did take psychology, and actually this is a really big thing that has helped me in life, like kind of seeing where people are. When a mother and father separate and they have children, what they don't understand is that they inflict a lot of like trauma on the kid. And then that kid ends up growing up only knowing what he's seen, not understanding that this is not how relationships are. This is not how it's supposed to be. And I feel like a lot of either the father or the mother, they also don't try to fix that. They don't ever communicate about it, and sometimes that's how
Valid
I feel
point.
like a lot of relationships go downhill. And sometimes, girls will go into depression, start getting surgery, now they're insecure and they don't understand why he doesn't want me. But at the end of the day, it's all because of some unhealed trauma that he experienced in his childhood. And vice versa as well.
Makes sense.
Woman as well, it goes both ways.
I think a 2-parent household is definitely going to produce a healthier child without a doubt.
Yeah.
Well, if there's a breakup or divorce, who do you think the child is better off with, single parent wise, a man or a woman? Because I know the answer. I want to see if what you're thinking.
Are you gonna say the mother?
No,
The father?
father. Yeah,
Why?
the mother has to put on the pants of the mom and dad,
Uh-huh.
and she's going to just let the child do whatever he or she wants, not discipline them. Father's going to discipline them. Father's going to protect them. Father's going to tell them right from wrong and be straight up. Not going to baby them. Not this, little BS. Oh, it's okay. You'll be fine. And then you get into the real world and you get eaten alive by anything. Job, school, regular relationships. It makes more sense that the man is there to protect and provide for the child. If it
For
comes to that
boys
point.
especially, because not having a male role model could really mess you up as a man. If you grow up to be feminine or weak, or you're not street smart, it's not going to end good.
I've noticed that a lot of like men that have separated parents, and like if they are living like with a mother, they're way more feminine.
Yeah,
and
of course.
masculine.
Of course.
And this one guy, he said something to me. It hit a nerve, but I didn't take it too personal. But he was like, "You're very masculine sometimes, but when you're feminine, it's a different side of you." I didn't get mad, but then I thought about it, and I was like, the real reason that is true, but that's because when you're going through stuff, growing up, and you don't rely on help, maybe without the mother or the father, I kind of didn't really rely on either. You have to be tough. So when you keep going through motions in life, through jobs, people, relationships, just opportunities, new experiences, you're so used to doing that, and then someone meets you and they're like, "You're really tough." I'm just like, what am I? I'm not.
It makes sense because you grew up, you had to deal with certain situations where you had to defend yourself. You had to be tough. You couldn't be your feminine self.
Yeah.
Which is what men expect women to be when they're around them, is a woman to be feminine. But if they grow up with that, okay, I have this tough life, I have so much stuff that I have to take care of, I have to go out, I'm 18 years old, I can't live at home anymore, I have to find my own place, get my own job, sign up for school myself, everything, then it makes sense that you have to put on this masculine persona.
But that also showed me where he was intellectually, mentally, because it's kind of like, if you know that I'm masculine, ask yourself why. Like I would be more turned on if he kind of answered the question himself. It's like, my story, so if you want me to be more feminine, why don't you kind of just go through the moves and the steps so I don't have to be masculine? I don't have to ask. I want you to know, and that's what brings out a woman's soft side. She doesn't have to beg. She doesn't have to fight for it.
When the guy takes care of things, leads. Is that what you're referring
It's
to?
nice to have a leader.
So would it be fair to say that if a guy is masculine within your presence, you will open up to him in a feminine way?
I feel like, don't you agree? I feel like it's like kind of like a different feeling.
Masculine brings out feminine. That's what you're saying?
But there is nothing wrong with a man being like, let's say, all right, he said, I'm also a Scorpio. Could put a sound effect on that one. I'm a Scorpio, but it's like
We put the sound effect because we talked about astrology the other day, and we kind of think it's, or maybe I do think it's more of a fantasy type thing. If you want to rebuttal, you can. You follow?
I certainly will rebuttal.
Okay.
A lot of females, they take out their little iPhone and they pull out an app and they're reading off this app. But a few years ago, I actually decided to go to Barnes & Nobles, as you guys know, our local bookstore, and read about it. And there is actually a famous quote by one of America's biggest banks, his JP Morgan. He said, millionaires don't use astrology, but billionaires do. And there's a segment that is very deep into it because there's a piece of information in astrology where from just knowing your name, your birthday, and what time you were born, there is actually a picture of the planets from the exact time that you were born. So if there was actually no social security numbers and someone pulled this up, that would be your identity. So it's like a lot of women, they're asking guys, what's your zodiac sign? Or like, oh, I dated this person. But it's like when you kind of just study every sign and then you know their personality, it's just good to know. But I think women are using astrology in the wrong way.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make
It's
sense.
ridiculous.
I was
going
gonna
to
say,
stop.
Like, oh, he's a Virgo, so I'm not going to date him. Oh, he's Aquarius, so I'm not going to date him.
Because to every, like, you're a Virgo, right? And you are...
Scorpio. Yep. October.
So
Fantastic.
So listen, so in order for me to be a Scorpio, there's actually two other signs. That it's like, this is the chart that I mentioned before. It's called your rising and your moon sign. So my rising is Gemini. My moon sign is a Pisces. But that's like the combination as to what made me a Scorpio. So everybody in the world has a whole different combination. So that's why I think women are really misconceptualizing the fact that, oh, if he's this zodiac sign, then he's this. Or like, I have a bad experience with this, because I can sit here and I can tell you I have had different experiences with the same zodiac sign. You can't just assume
Let me ask you this.
someone's personality on like
I agree.
on a trait, you know? You have to get to know someone.
100%.
A lot of women are into this stuff, and my question for you is, like, how much emphasis do they put on it? Like, when they choose a guy, like, percentage-wise, like, how important is it? Like, is it to the point where women are like, oh, I was gonna date him, but he's an asparagus, so that's out of the question? Or would they
My
be
friend
like,
says
all right, he's
that
an
all the time.
asparagus, but let me he's a Capri Sun, but like, let me get to know him better.
That's a
That's a good
Because a
one.
lot of women talk about it, but like, I really want to know, like, is it like a deal breaker? Depends on the woman, I guess.
I think it should depend on the woman, but I think the smartest woman is that when she asks you, she just is quiet and she's like, okay, that's nice, you know. But if a woman is gonna just start going off of a mumbo jumbo, she's using it in the wrong way. And she, you know, a mature woman is just kind of gonna know your zodiac sign. Like, you know, she's not gonna make it a big thing.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think if there's a woman that likes a guy and she comes up with this nonsense around him, I think the guy should pretty much say game over and not even deal with it. Because realistically, guys aren't going to be like, oh, well, she's Aquarius, so, oh, we match. I like her. No, guys are going to go based off of looks. She looks good. She's cute. I'm going to go up to her. Let me talk to her. Let me see what I can do. If guys decide to cold approach, which is a problem nowadays, we'll get into that in a few, but guys go off of looks. They just say, hey, I like her. She's beautiful.
I like her. I want to hit that ass.
Fine. They say that too.
But listen, all I'm saying is that, like, if you have had experience with, like, women and, like, you know their zodiac sign as well, maybe, like, you know how people, like you just said, oh, we match or whatever. But just from experience, you can also just know maybe there is a personality that maybe you mesh with a little bit easier. Because there are some people, like, you know, my dad is a Libra. And Libras just hate confrontation. And I'm a Scorpio like him. And I'm always like, you know, if there's a problem, we're going to find a solution. And I'm going to be loud about it. I'm going to do this. And he's always like, no.
I mean,
no. You know, it's like there are different, you know, personalities, though. So I don't know. But don't be so negative about it. Just make sure you find the girl that's not going to make everything about that. Because that is annoying.
I mean,
She's not using it the right way. She's abusing it, honestly. The universe is not happy.
I'm not necessarily going to look and see like, oh, you know, what's the zodiac? And I know guys aren't doing that either. I know guys are going to be like, hey, we mesh. It looks, sure. Personality, fine. We just vibe and it's going. I think the woman is going to be more focused on, hey, does he match my zodiac sign? She'll make it a big deal. And again, for the ladies out there, if you like a guy, I would say even give him some signs, because it seems like women don't even want to go up to men, even though they may like some guy. They may give these, you know, weird signs and flick their hair or give
It's-
them a look and things like that?
It's so rare. Like even
What's that?
when I go out, like women rarely approach men. It's always like
It's almost
the
unheard of,
men.
right?
It's unheard of, but the thing is that should it be happening more often now in 2024?
You know, actually, when a guy does get approached in the club, if he's wearing 3 designer chains, designer shoes, designer everything,
The rich guy.
yeah. But then the problem is that number one, you got to look at it from 2 different standpoints. He's wearing all of that because he actually may be insecure. Number 2, he wants the attention, and number 3, that's the easiest route for him to get approached, right?
Makes sense. All right.
And you like for me, you can't even tell if he's financially stable, and at that point, it's like that's just how I see it. A lot of the girls that walk in or when they're standing online, they see a nice car. The person doesn't even get out of the car. They'll just walk up, like knock on the window,
They
and
see a
it's-
Lambo or something.
Yeah,
like,
and it's just like,
Well, it's status.
what about your worth, like as a woman? Because if you go to the club and you're dressed in something elegant and you don't look like, like a regular girl, like shoes or like Air Forces, some heels, whatever, and you get approached, that might be a man. That might not be a little boy. Because then you know what a man is looking at versus what a man can just get easily at the club. You know what I mean? Like just pick it pocket.
So when women approach, because I know it's rare, but when a woman approaches a guy like that, do you think she's expecting to have something possibly serious with him, or she kind of knows what it is? Like, all right, I know this guy.
When he is draped out in designer? you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Oh my God. Probably to get paid. And
Okay.
just stay the night with him.
Okay,
probably.
okay.
Unfortunately, but I do have a few friends, and one of them prominently, he wears, like he will wear, maybe like a $500 t-shirt to the club, regular jeans, and some like New Balance sneakers, maybe Nike, but on his wrist, he'll have,
Patek Philippe.
he will have, it's the other one, but I think so. Yeah, I've seen the papers, for 400K, but it's like
Damn.
girls will look past that, but it's like I know he has a real career. He is not overly dressed. He's
get what you're
not
saying.
doing too much. He has respect for women, and he's very nice, and he is feminine as well. That's one thing that I noticed. There's men that could look good, not too much at the club. Maybe they're wearing the bare minimum. They have like a chain or something. They're masculine, but there's also like I think that's the first man that I met that I know like he's like a doctor, and he makes money, but he's like nice. Versus the guys that come, they're throwing money in the club, and there's all these random girls that are trying to get into their section. It's
Yeah, of
like,
course.
What are you gaining from that?
I mean, girls look for status, finances. If the guy is 6 foot tall or higher, if he looks good, there's a bunch of requirements and prerequisites that are required from a man before a woman says, okay, I'm okay with even this guy coming up to me. Because that's the problem. Even some guys will try to approach and women will turn them away, or they'll reject them, or they'll be like, oh, you're a creep, blah, blah, blah. Even though they're asking for it with those so-called signs that they give. That's why I say women should be more adamant about, hey, I'm going to give this guy a huge signal, or somehow maybe even start talking to him randomly about some BS, and then find a way to get him to talk to her.
Girls also got a little bit smarter. Like, I feel like if you are waiting for a female to approach you at the bar, or if you want to approach a woman at the bar, you're most likely are going to get approached by her if you buy a bottle at a section. Because,
No, that's pretty much
because
expected.
that gives her, like, he has money to spend. So maybe he's going to spend it on me, or he's going to take me out later after this,
And I don't even think it could be one. I think it has to be like a few bottles. Because there's like, I'm serious. You go to any, like, Miami's a prime example.
Bring
There's
me
always
5
like,
Henny bottles and put them on his tab.
but am I right or wrong? Like,
that's the thing.
you could, if
That's
you were
the
to
thing.
scan a room, you see the guys that like blew their whole paycheck to get one bottle. And then there's guys that easily like spent bought 8 bottles. And you could just tell, like in Miami, this happens all the time. You could just tell they could give 2 shits about whatever they spent.
Miami, the city, LA, it happens almost anywhere. There's a big club, and that's what guys try to do to impress women. And I think if guys showed their real self more, it would be women would be better off because guys are going to go in and put on this fake personality, show off. They probably spend money that they don't even have just to try to get the girl, and then once they get to know each other on the real side, then shit's gonna hit the storm.
Well, the worst is if you buy a bottle and you don't fuck anything afterwards, and then you just blew fucking $1,000.
Exactly.
I did want to ask you, since you're more oriented in nightlife, do you think the average man has a chance? Like, is it a good place to go pick a woman nowadays, or is it like if you're average, just don't even bother because all the people spending money are gonna be like overshadow you, like you have no chance? Because the clubbing changed over the years. It used to be like you could just kind of show up. Now, if you're just like standing there with your Corona in the corner, like you could forget it, right?
No.
No?
You have a chance.
You have a chance.
It's like a vending machine.
Okay. So there is a chance, but okay.
In what way?
I like that answer.
I mean, there are some like very good spots. Like I know there's a whole schedule. Like today, there is one club by Times Square, but that's like you're gonna see ages from, the legal age to maybe max like 45 in there. But it's like everyone. But I don't know. I think my friends have picked up more men because usually like when I would go out with them, I would just be like the little bunny. I kind of wouldn't look to pursue anyone, just have a couple of shots and just enjoy. I was the mom, because at some point someone is going to get too drunk, someone's going to get too wasted, and then who's going to do the
drive and all that. Yeah.
So,
okay. That's cool.
So you're the wing woman. Or you wouldn't go that far?
The best. I'm the best wing. Yeah, I could play it off, be a little actor for 5 minutes, and then be like, all right, you good? Go to the bathroom. So, like, let's say you go to one club, right? And, like, for you guys, or, like, just men in general, they need to understand, maybe they'll go to one club, and then they'll just get, like, annoyed, and they're, like, not picking up any women. They're like, all right, screw it. Like, let's go
change venues
to the strip club or something. Instead, it's like, be positive, be like, you know what, it's a sign, let's go here. Like, until you hit 3 spots and until you've had at least 2 good conversations, like, it doesn't even have to be further than, going somewhere, but just, it takes effort and time. But I do believe that there are some very smart women in New York, especially women that I have even met behind the bar, like doctors, lawyers. And they're also, they'll come sometimes, they'll just sit there, have a drink with another girl. And I'm just like, they can be in a nightclub right now, but they're just chilling.
They're just chilling,
yeah.
Having drinks.
It's always good to go out and chill and hang out. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't know. I like hopping around sometimes.
No, I agree. We've all been there where you go out one night and like just like the vibe is off in one place or the crowd is off. So like I think you're probably better off bouncing around to a few spots than just like
bar hop,
blowing the whole night.
Club hop, or whatever the case is. That makes sense.
We have to take Rob to Somewhere Nowhere.
All right,
let's
to take you.
Let's do it.
Somewhere Nowhere. Let's put it on the
That's
list.
the name of the place?
Yeah.
Really? All right.
We went
Somewhere
there. We went there for my birthday.
This is in the city?
Oh, okay. I remember that. I remember that time.
That time.
That time.
That one time.
That one time. There was a lot of people there. Is that a place that you've met a lot of people?
That place is open on Sundays, and I think that's good. Like, I think New York knows how to like push their business, because like most places, in Jersey, Sundays everything is closed, and then over there they know what to keep open to make the profit.
Well, in the city, it's like, what do you think? Can you go out like basically any night and possibly have a good night, or is it like just stick to the weekend? Every night, right?
Every night.
Yeah.
Even Monday, Tuesday. I mean, we don't go out much to the club. We're always.
You just have to know where to go, right? Like,
I literally know the whole schedule by heart, pretty much. But I actually heard that people from New York were starting to move to Miami, and then everyone from Miami started moving back to New York.
Okay, the first one I heard, I didn't know the opposite was occurring. So you're saying what? People from Miami are moving to New York?
So everyone from here, like, supposedly we're moving like down
to Brickell, downtown Miami.
And now everyone is like coming back.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
What's the reason behind that? Did they tell you? They just miss it?
Business.
Oh.
And just everyone, I guess, knows each other over there. I guess it's like a smaller.
Yeah, because in Miami, like, Fort Lauderdale, that area, South Florida, it's a smaller vicinity, so a lot of the same people. You'll
see the same faces, yeah.
Same faces 100%. Over and over again. The longer you're there,
most people that are down there made their money up here. in the Northeast, so they're probably going down there.
So yeah, I just remembered. So people make their money here and then go
Yeah.
down there and then make less and then return here.
100%.
I mean,
There's going to be more opportunity here.
I don't drive out of state for no money.
I mean, it makes more sense to work here and save up and then go down.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
I'm
of
sure a
course.
lot
It's
of
an
people-
amazing place. I mean, I'm not
Or-
surprised.
Or invest and then take half of that out and then invest in a property there and have both.
Well, that's it. That's what we
That's
tell.
the dream.
We tell guys you got to invest. You know,
Summer,
invest high yield savings account, real estate, which is something that I do. A bunch of things, start your own business, do your hustles, whatever it takes, because that's how you grow. And for the ladies as well. I know, again, you're single, you have to take care of yourself. Obviously, women shouldn't be primarily focused on money, but I know you have to have a source of income, you have to live. It makes sense. Do you see something as far as money goes? Do you see it as like, I have to be a boss babe, I have to be an independent woman? Let me go make money.
Yes. It feels good too. Even like, when you meet a man, like, I want to take you out to dinner. I'm like, I could take you out. I could take you anywhere you want. You want 5-star Michelin? I could do it.
You say that, but wouldn't you be turned off if you let him, let you take him out and he lets you take him out?
Yeah.
You would-
But he would have to be special or something because I'm not about to pay $2,000 to Noble.
yeah,
Gonna
yeah.
be special.
Well, that's the thing. Women prefer from men, which one, money or looks?
Intellect. A lot of women are different. I pay attention to discipline and their routine. Like, they have to have a good upkeep, especially routine. One thing that I also, this is gonna sound crazy, but when you wake up in the morning, do you guys make your bed?
Ooh, I'm guilty of not.
I'm up and down with that.
99.999% of the time.
I'm up and down with that. Yeah.
So-
yeah, nay.
There was this study where it's people who make their bed after they wake up later, they're supposed to be really successful. So I don't know. I just I wake up, I make my bed every day. So it's if I'm at a guy's house and his bed isn't made, it's he doesn't have a routine. And then before bed, if we're on the phone or something, did he brush his teeth? Is he drinking water? But I don't think we actually got to the annual salary, but everything matters, I think women just pursue men for a nice BMW or Mercedes S-Class and then, a nice Gucci belt, but then what's behind that? What about, and
So-
where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are
That
you gonna
initial, you could tell the guy's successful. That's equivalent to how men see women in terms of looks. Initially we look at them okay, you're attractive, but then past that, it's do we get along? What's her personality like? I get what you're saying.
But point blank, which it makes sense what you're saying. I would say that the top,
do? He doesn't make his bed.
no, not that. The top thing that women focus on is a guy's money. If a guy is not bringing in money, then I think
That's important, but I feel when you really love a guy and he's making money, it's a plus. But I think women, the problem with women is if I'm making more than my current partner, it doesn't mean one day he can't make double than me,
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. So how do women feel about dating a guy that makes less? And I don't mean $10,000, because there are there's a lot of successful women nowadays that are killing it. She makes $300,000 a year. She's a doctor or something. Do you think those type of women are okay with dating a guy that's just 90, 100K? Or you think they're going to be nah, I deserve better and I worked hard my whole life, so I'm going to shoot for somebody equal or more?
Good question.
Right? That's
It is a good question.
say what's on your mind.
because I mean, I would
Straight
assume that women that make that much want a guy that makes more than them, but that's got to be extremely hard to find.
It's typical where women want a man that makes either equal to them or more, not less.
Yeah, of
because
course.
that's a turnoff. Would you agree? Would you say that's fair?
I mean,
I think
That's the ideal, at least.
I agree with him, but if there was someone you were with for a long time and you really, really love them, let's say it's from, early ages, and then you have a higher income, I would probably be you're doing amazing and I'm proud of you. But later I'd be let's set some higher goals, let's work, let's be even, let's have even more together. But now, with my annual salary and income, I definitely take that serious because I can't go.
No bumps. No bumps.
No.
Yep. That's understandable.
You admitted it. It's that's what women want. Women don't want bums. I mean, would you want a man that makes 30, 40, 50K a year?
Well, there has to be. What if there's like a catch? Or what if he was like
a variable, right?
What if he was like a doctor and then he started another job, but like let's say the starting is like that range, and then after a year it's like 150.
The thing
Like
is,
there's levels to it, but you're right. If it was like 50K, no, you're like 180K behind me.
so to quote Rich Cooper, you would wait at the finish line, or for a man to get to the point where he's making enough that you're happy, or wouldn't you?
I think there's only one person I would make that exception for, and it's someone like from my past. But otherwise, no. I need to elevate, my my standards.
So you would date a winner, pretty much. You want somebody that's winning and he's made it. You don't want someone that's
No.
on the way up.
No, I could date someone that's on the way up because then we can challenge each other mentally. Because I feel like also if you have a winner, not only is he gonna be cocky and full of himself, he's not gonna know how to teach. Because a real leader, like, I feel like he's gonna have to have the girl like fall head over heels. Like, baby, you don't know how to do this, but like I can help you open up a business. I started mine 7 years ago. This is how much I put away for it. Here was the interest rate. Like, that's a different story, but no.
So within all that, you probably mentioned it a couple times, but the three main characteristics you expect from a guy, what are the three main ones? Just to kind of knock it out, boom, boom, boom. You said honesty?
Honesty, discipline. I don't know, what's the other one?
It's got to be money in there. You got to have it in there.
The money counter. Discipline, honesty, money.
There we go.
But he has to be funny. Like, because I even when I'm mad, like, I can just make a joke and I will just start laughing. And I think that's the best way to not take anything serious and just to have it as a learning experience. I think these bitches take everything way too serious.
Too serious, yeah, I agree.
I think they're not learning anymore. I think they want to be codependent. They're not understanding that the country we live in, it's just like you have to do it yourself, get it yourself, pursue someone that cares about you, not just go for looks.
Bingo. And no, it's good you said that because I think generally what happens is, I know women personally that married at 25, and then there's women that are like 40 years old and they're still running around chasing those type of successful men. And it's like, what's the point in all this? Like, what do you think? How do you think this is going to all end? Like, you eventually, I'm assuming you want to have kids, right? So that glamorous life, it gets to a point where I think you just have to be real and be like, look, let me find a man that treats me right.
And the problem for women is, obviously we're going to get some.
How dare you?
Going to get some hate for this, but as women get older, once they hit 30s, and then 35, 40, it's more of a detriment. You can have kids. Women can have kids because they're like, oh, well, we still can have kids. But it's more of a detriment. It's unhealthy. It's likely that there's going to be issues with the child, or that woman may have some health issues. Well,
it's risky, plus
trying to bear a child at that age.
Your milk's going to be dry and shit. You're going to be shooting powder out of your nipples.
There's that.
I thought I was going to have a kid after high school at like 22, 23, and then life hit me, and I was like, oh, no. Like, that's...
You kind of backed that away from it.
Yeah, because, I mean, obviously, if you have a different family setting and everything's taken care of, mommy, daddy, that's a different story.
Yeah, of course.
You don't have to worry about finances. You could pop a baby anytime, but then you start working, and then you start paying taxes, and then you're like, people make kids?
Well, there's a couple of things.
If you think having a marriage is expensive, do you know how much you even have to put away for like a baby?
The average cost
pregnant? It's insane.
Is somewhere between 25 and 30K in the U.S.
I heard it's
yearly.
like 90,000.
It'll probably depend on the state and city you're in. I'm sure in New York it's more than North Dakota,
and the
but
shots, the vaccines.
That's all in there.
Oh
I mean,
my
it varies.
God.
It depends on the situation, the place they're in. It varies.
the childcare is expensive as hell. It's like 300 to 500 a week, to my understanding,
I mean,
something like that.
Imagine going to work and then you have to pay somebody else a full-time salary pretty much, because that's really what childcare is.
Oh, like a nanny.
Like a nanny or a regular childcare, daycare center.
Either or is going to be expensive. Like I
It's
read
gonna
that
be-
the average babysitter wants like $21.50 an hour. That's like the entry point.
It's insane.
So-
You're spending thousands a month.
I don't know if I would even trust a nanny.
I probably wouldn't either, honestly.
I mean,
There's crazy people out there.
It's a couple good points you made. 21, 22, 23 years old. That's around prime age, 21 to 25, where women should be bearing children. As they start, late
Back
20.
then, though. Like back then.
I mean, just
Or you 21, 22, you think that's a girl's prime?
21 to 25. Maybe 26, but then
I don't know. Some
it-
girls have told me like they hit their prime after like their 30s, and at this point, I've just given up. I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna hit my prime.
sounds rough, but it starts going downhill at 30s. It's just what it is.
I think
Just-
prime, because like there's two things. Looks wise, it's definitely mid 20s. That's my take on it. Financially, it might be 30s.
No,
but
the younger the better, but you guys would be surprised. There are some women that I've met after 30, but the way that they take care of their body,
there are attractive women, of course. Yeah.
but that's I think a woman should always be working on her prime.
More or less, though, that's an exception. There are women, yes, but it's an exception because biologically, women, start on a decline at 30. It's just the way things
That's
are.
true.
It's just the way it is. But it's that age, 21 to 25. It's a good opportunity to bear a child. It's child will most likely come out much healthier. But you also mentioned a great point about this economy is very difficult. That there's nothing to hide.
you need
about
a
that.
two-income household for most people,
Or-
like easily.
Or if somebody's by themselves, they're working, they need to have their 9 to 5, and then they need to hustle or do some side business. So they basically have to have almost 2 full-time jobs. If their one full-time isn't doing it for them, then they have to do other things to make ends meet. That's for men and women as well.
The saying in New Jersey is you got to have 2 jobs, a side hustle, and then still something illegal on the side
Well,
to make ends meet.
well, that's the thing too. Women in general, because we've been on this money thing. The bare minimum that you, as far as money goes, the bare minimum you would accept a man to make a year, because we've heard women say some outrageous stuff.
What have you heard?
I've
Well,
heard
you-
I've heard 100K. I've heard 200K.
Well,
Is that outrageous too?
100K? No, I don't think 100K is
you
outrageous.
think out 100K is is that your bare minimum?
Oh, bare minimum.
Yeah. What's the absolute minimum? Because I know I mentioned before 30, 40, 50K, but
I don't know. Maybe like 75 to 80. Is that okay?
I mean it's.
But there
it-
has to be.
Don't ask me for permission. It has to be how
There has
what you
to be
think.
a plan after, and it also like would depend on their age. But I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't like judging books by their cover, because guys, I can meet someone and they could be my soulmate and they could make 50K, and I will just cry and I will have to accept it somehow. What happens then?
Mostly men make around the 48, 49, 50,000
I
area.
think it's around like the 60 to 69.
What's that?
Like average
salary? Yeah, somewhere around there.
Like I would say
it's
69.
It's a bit less. I know it's like around 48, 49, 50. I mean, maybe now with inflation, if the pay rates went up a little bit, sure. But
okay.
it really depends.
Bare
But
minimum, if I meet him, 69, 70K. But like right there on the line, I'm like, you need to. I would just say, if I'm working this hard, I'm looking for these things, because that's another thing. A guy can only push himself to the limit that he's at. Maybe he's comfortably making 50 to 70K.
Mhm.
Maybe he's not busting his ass. I tell him, I'm looking for this. He finds another job in 2 weeks. That shows me he is serious about pursuing me.
And I think it also comes down to how people manage their money too. Because
There was a situation where this guy, he liked me and he like came back from overseas and he wasn't working, and I was like, you want to try to even talk to me or pursue me, you need to find a job, you know? And I helped him. He worked as like a paralegal, you
Okay.
know? And that's it. And then
This was a guy from another country or somebody?
No, like he's like he was on vacation
Mhm.
at home, and then like he came back, but it's like we're not in contact, but like he has a job, you
Okay.
know? And it's like I'm not mad, but it's like at least they gained something with my presence, you know? I'm always grateful for the learning experience, but I think when a man really, you know, if there's a will, there's a way. You guys know that.
Bottom line is that women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally, but men are loved with a condition that they can provide, protect, resources, money, etc. That's pretty much something that is a must. So I understand a guy must have a job, a guy must be making a certain amount. I mean, that's the bottom line. Now, how would you go about it if that guy wasn't meeting that particular standard of yours? Would you break up with the guy, or would you cheat on the guy because you still want to keep him? You like his intellect, you like his personality. He's probably funny. He's probably trying hard. He's probably a nice guy, but would you stick around or cheat on him if he wasn't making or providing enough for you?
I don't think I would cheat, but I would probably, you know, tell him.
You would break up.
Get it together or I'm out.
Well, that is a nice,
Like a simple-
smooth ultimatum, but I don't know. I really just believe you have to treat people how you want to be treated.
I think you'd break up with him.
I would break up with him, but I wouldn't go and be like petty, because me going out and pursuing a man or like doing something, it's not gonna pay my bills or benefit me. I'd rather, like, you know, break up with him and like go for a run, go to the gym, lift some weights, keep it moving, eat a carrot or something.
Is there an eventual age that you want to settle down, or are you okay with just going?
I'm hanging out.
So you're not thinking about
because
that.
this generation, it's really difficult.
We're cooked.
We are cooked.
It's tough. It's tough to date nowadays. It's tough for both men and women.
And knowing like my age, and like I'm telling you, like that's a scary thing, you know? Like I feel like this is just if I could be in the 80s right now, I would.
So would
oh
I.
my god.
Well, you said you're 26, right? Or am I off?
Click a button right now for me. How did you mess that up?
Got to refresh my memory.
24.
24. I was close.
Still a little bean.
You're still in your prime, so you're still good. So you don't have to rush necessarily into anything. You can still do your thing.
I've had options. Like I even thought about it, like, oh my god, do I really like him? He wants me to quit my job. He wants me to do this. He wants me to move in with him, and I'm just thinking like, that's it. Like, what about what I want to do? Like, I feel like all my hobbies would just die down. You know, I wouldn't go to the
You would be giving up your
studio.
life
I
for-
wouldn't. Yeah, and then it's like, if I'm living with them, I'm codependent. I don't have a ring on my finger. They're going out doing whatever. That's like a double standard, you know? And you have to not like play it out smart, but like you have to know what you're doing, because guys will try to also be like sneaky and think it's funny, but then it's like you're going to traumatize this woman for no reason and you're just going to hurt her. It's not stupid.
But you do have a lot of options, you said, right? So you have a lot of choices to make.
No, not really. Like options as in like men?
Yeah.
No. There's like
Stop the cap.
I don't think that's true. I think you have options.
listen.
Do you get approached a lot?
I do, but it's if I can have a vlog of like
Who's approaching you or how they're doing it?
just every reaction or how it just like, you know, ends, it would just be that funny.
But I think, come on, you gotta have options. I mean, really.
Like when I get bored, like I'm not just gonna like text. I don't know. I'm wired differently. That's why I vibe with you guys so well. I love it here. I don't even want to leave.
No, thanks for coming out tonight. We plan on having more guests. I think the podcast it's a whole different show with a guest on and getting a female point of view. So we appreciate you coming out.
Of course. Now, another question is, with those options,
Yeah.
right now, if you had to say, because you say that you don't have as many options.
Okay. I'm ready.
Right now, how many, just the number of DMs that you have from guys? How many do you have?
I don't even.
You can even say like guys that you haven't even responded to yet, because I'm sure there's DMs there that guys,
it'll be like more than 100 because I have like the requests.
Oh, right.
And then I
hidden
have
ones?
all the. No, you know.
Drafts.
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk
Spam.
and spit on that thing. You get me?
Yeah, all these options. You know how many options
my
guys
God.
have? They barely have anybody.
I don't
hit 'em
think
up.
that's true. I think men have a lot of options, and for some reason, like when they get the girl that likes them back, they just just
Go along with it.
Yeah, but the thing is that what type of guy you're looking at? You're looking at the high 5-10% of men, or are you looking at the average male, the bottom 80-85% of men? Because yeah, sure, I'm sure the rich guy that's 6 foot tall or higher, that has status, that is ambitious, that's confident, that's assertive, that's persistent, that has almost everything, that has good looks, works out in the gym, strong, etc. I'm sure he has a bunch of options. Maybe not 100, but he has options. Am I right, or am I right?
I don't know. I think you just made me realize something.
What's that?
What did I make?
Driving home crying. I think that is true though, but I think like even when those guys are like financially stable, they're tall, I definitely think they can pursue a girl and still hide that, that's why it's like it's difficult, I just don't think it's fair because the second a girl, just starts doing it back or just matching the energy, all of a sudden it's like, you're pointing fingers at each other. And
so do you think that based on all the options you have, it's tough to make a decision on who's the best option, so you just kind of want to do you?
like I said, I don't really entertain. I just focus on making money and going to the studio. But I do pay attention to how men speak because being a bartender, a lot of women that approach men at the bar, it's always like, hey, how's your day? Are you visiting? It's never, hi, this is my name. What do you do for a living? What is your schedule like?
So they're not asking kind of like questions to get to know her. It's more like surface level,
What do you do
Mhm.
on your free time? What do you do in your spare time? Like, what are your hobbies? Do you have any secrets? It's like, in order to really entice a man, you have to know what you want as well. So when I have a conversation with some of these guys, it's like, it's not what I'm looking for. They're not financially stable. They don't have a resume, no schedule. And I kind of just like, it's
What
not
are
that I'm not
some-
going to answer you. It's just like,
You already made that decision in your head. Like, we could talk, but this isn't going
Within the
anywhere.
first few seconds, you probably made the decision while talking to them. You were probably like, they're disqualified.
What are some kind of like red flags or like telltale signs? Like, oh shit, like that guy just said that. Like like that makes you tell like he's not, there financially. What? How can you tell? Just by his like, is it like just by like where he works or his position at his job or?
Or what he spends.
I think spending is a big thing. I like being dined. I like being taken out. I think spoiling a woman is more so as like a real man, like when you're a provider, There's this gentleman that's been all over my Instagram feed and he stresses how, you want a good woman, you want a woman to understand you, you want her to let you do anything you want, you have to provide for her. And it's like, you'll meet these guys and they're like, all right, we can go on a date, and then after, what do you want to do? It's like, don't ask me what I want to do.
You want the guy to lead. Pick where you're going on.
Yeah, pick where we eat. We can eat. I can go home. Or if anything, you can go home. I can go mind my business. I can maybe have a drink or do this, see my homegirl, and then go home, and then we can continue. I think women have just lowered their standards to the point where guys are thinking it's so easy for anything, So
It's easy for the guy.
Yeah, easy for the guy to just
Try to sleep with her.
so easy, especially at the club. I see it all the time, guys who are not single, married, divorced, it's all the time. But I'm also a little bit of like a sapiosexual, so I don't think I said that right, but it's like I like intelligence. It turns me on. And that also shows me, am I going to waste my time right now, or this might be a good experience? The guy might not even know. He might be like sexually enticed with women that are smart, you know, and then you could just hit it off. And
It's
could
like
be,
the level of intellect that the
Yeah.
guy brings to the conversation. Is it just
Yeah.
like mundane conversation, or is he saying something,
Because
you
how
know?
many times have you guys been on a date with a girl and it's like the same like stuff? Like you want to hear about
Oh.
like stocks, maybe like some politics, the new like sports. Like women should know that they also have to bring a lot to the table, because just because you tell him, you know, BS about your homegirls and complain about your mom all day and then not want to be sexy for him after a long day of work, like you're not the perfect dream girl in his mind anyway, you know, at that point.
Very good point. And I was going to say, I think when you get to those level of guys, they're going to be extra picky because it's everything on the line. Their reputation, their families have to meet her. So when you bring a woman into your life and you're whoever, doctor, you know, surgeon or something, you're also going to have to make sure you're bringing in the right woman, right? So
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about a high value man, you're talking about a guy that's going to want a lot more than the average guy. I mean, the simple guy really wants and to be honest, guys in general, they want a woman that's, you know, willing to submit to a man. Obviously, the man has to be masculine for that to happen. A woman would be on her feminine side. Man wants peace, doesn't want to argue. He wants it's gonna hurt, but
How dare you?
make some sandwiches. Want some food on the table when he gets home from work.
I love to cook.
That's
And
a plus.
I
That's always a
noticed
plus.
A lot of girls, like even younger, like my age, like they don't know how to cook.
I agree.
Ladies, take this example.
Ladies, learn how to cook.
Because that's how you're going to keep your guy. And one big thing, of course,
He's
is
gonna
that
keep coming back.
And not like
For
some
that
not
food.
some like French fries in the air fryer type of shit, like
No.
some
We're talking about salmon on the pan,
shrimp
some
scampi, shit like
burgers,
that.
some nice pasta.
Yeah.
100%. And don't forget the one big thing as well.
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that thing. You get me?
Ladies, you know what guys want. And that there's a few more things, but we're simple. Men are simple. They're not, you know, all this crazy stuff. Women have a list, which I'm sure you can admit that, you know, women have a pretty high list. Maybe not you. Maybe you're an exception.
Yeah.
You know, you're
I've
one.
definitely noticed like some girls, they like just be off the racks, and it's like they'll be like at home, like no job, still living with their mom, and it's just like you want A, B, C, Z, F.
What you want doesn't add up
It
to what
doesn't-
you're.
Yeah, it has to be.
I get it, yeah,
50-50,
100%.
you know?
Exactly. Because the thing is that men want this much and women want this much. It's like, it's not even, forget about being even. It's just absurdly one-sided. You know, it's just one way, and one person has the advantage, the other person doesn't.
Men are expected to bring a lot. I think so. I mean, based on what I'm hearing, we watch a lot of female podcasts and listen to the female point of view, and it's generally the same thing. He needs to make enough. He needs to be a leader. I wanted to close it out with this question. So you mentioned earlier, like, women want guys to spoil them. If a man spends, I don't know, $300 to $500 on that first date, is it fair for him to expect sex in return that date, or is that kind of like off limits? Like you got to wait a couple dates, or what's the general consensus with that?
Uh-oh. What are we going to hear?
Is it fair for him to expect it on the first night, given that he spends the
no,
money?
because the guy could also be really into the girl, you know. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
he was thinking about her like for the last 2 weeks before bed, you know. He can't stop thinking about her. If it's any girl, I feel like they probably would allow it, but I think to show him like not so fast.
Okay,
you
okay,
know,
okay.
little-
I get it.
Like we could play this cat and mouse. I think it's even sexier, you know, when you do that little
Create a little tension, or like,
I
okay.
think I like sexual tension, but some women they don't understand that. And that's the thing. I think if you leave a guy off with a little bit more of sexual tension,
Okay.
he's going to want to take that versus all right, he just paid $438 for some food. Now you're going to give him top in the car, and it's like the spark might just automatically be gone, you know,
Okay.
and you barely got to know each other.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay, to your point, to have like some tension. I guess that makes sense, as long as it's probably like, what would you say, like the cutoff point, third date maybe? Because Because that's I'm just being honest. Like, assuming I'm not talking about going to the diner or something like that. Like, if you're spending like $200-300 or anything more than that,
straight up, I know this
you're
is gonna-
$1,000 in the hole.
I know this is going to sound rough, but it's not that bad of a thing to figure out what you have after the first date. If you
It's not. He's right.
if you make a connection,
If you really like are into each other, you know.
screw it. See how you feel in bed, because it has to work out in bed, not just for men. It has to work out for women as well.
He's like,
Like, if you have a
She agrees. You know, not a lot of women would agree
what
to
are
that.
you nervous? You have to
Nervous?
just,
No, can't be nervous. You just got to go for it.
you just gotta. Go.
I would say the
As-
sooner the better overall.
as long
because
as-
The
I
sooner
think
the better.
I would say the sooner. It doesn't have to, like, if it's not on the first date, understandable, but like it can't be like some women try to pull that bullshit like 90 days or like get the fuck out of here. Like,
There's a girl that I know. I have to like keep it kind of. I don't know.
You don't have to say her
anonymous.
name.
That's fine.
So
You don't have to say her name,
she
of course.
met her future fiance, but she told me like, well, she asked me, she's like, you know, how often are you, you know, doing your thing? And this is like maybe more than 6-7 months ago. I'm like, you know, I'm not doing anything, you know. Life is boring, you know. How are you and your man? And she was like, you know, we're good. And then she's talking to me about their sexual endars or whatever they're doing. And I was like, so how long did you wait? She's like, oh, I didn't wait. I said, what do you mean?
First
She's
date?
like, it was right away. She was like, I needed it. I had to do it right away. And I said, oh, and I didn't expect that. But
It's great because right then and there you know what you have in store for you in the future.
I didn't expect that from her, you know? Like, you'd expect that from, like, the man, but, like, she was like, I went in, like, for the kill. I
You know what I
needed to
think that
how
is?
it was.
because you're gonna create that connection from the get go. You have a good date, you sleep together afterwards. I think that's gonna create a stronger, whatever word you want to use, than to drag it out and kind of like play cat and mouse for like too long. You know what I'm saying?
Imagine if you wait 5 months, 6 months, 9 months, whatever it is, and then the sex is shit, and then you
Plus the
break up.
chemistry
All
could-
that time,
The chemistry
lost.
could die, right?
Yeah,
I can't.
insane. I mean,
oh my god!
I would
At
say-
that point, you're already like somewhere else on your way home.
What's that, months?
The
You
next
said
day.
months. Yeah,
Oh no, months would be crazy.
it's insane. There's people that do it. I mean, max 3 dates, but it's not a bad thing if you do it on the first date. You see what you have, and if you're happy with what you have, you keep on going. You keep the dates going. You build on the relationship, obviously in other aspects, not just sex all the time.
I just personally feel like I wouldn't do it on the first date because I think the guy would just, you know, she's easy.
So you're
She's
saying that the guy would just
automatic-
have sex and then
like,
just
what
bounce?
if you argue with him and then he's like, how many dates did she go? Like, you know, when your intrusive thoughts hit, he's going to be like, oh my God, she went out on a date before me. She probably hit that too.
Oh, like you gave
You
it up
know?
too quick. You probably done it with other guys.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, you know?
Maybe over time, if he sees how you both are together and how
Right.
respectful you are and all that, I don't think he's gonna think that way. He's gonna be like, oh, she gave it up to me for the first date, that first night, and it's working out, and the relationship that we have so far. Whether we're talking, whether, we get into a relationship eventually, because I know there's a talking stage, then you have the relationship, the official relationship. If it's respectful throughout, then he's not going to see it as, oh, he's going to see it in a different light. He's not going to see it as, oh, well, she's easy to get in bed. She's easy for any guy.
That's really rare though, because I still feel like as a male, maybe you could put your word in on this. I still feel like your intrusive thought might be like,
Maybe in the back of your
what's her
mind.
body count? Why did she do this so fast?
I get what you're saying. So if you sleep
You
with her on
know?
the first night, you might think she's easy. I think you could kind of tell before you sleep with her how she is, though. You know where I'm going with this? Like,
Yeah,
you
but a
could meet a
girl-
girl, and before you even go on a date with her, sometimes you could tell the girl's easy. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
Oh, that's
So-
yeah.
so I think you are right about that. It's possible the guy may think that, but I think you're going to make that assumption way before that even happens. I think so.
You guys think so far ahead, huh?
No, I'm thinking about this right now, and I think you'll be able to tell, like, okay, she's one of those or she's not one of those. And it's just like how guys carry themselves a certain way. You could tell if the guy's a loser or not. You could tell if a woman's,
Have you ever
easier or not.
been asked what your body count is, and have you mentioned what it is, or is that something that you keep?
Yeah, I have, but it's just so agitating. Honestly, this is one thing that agitates me because I would not disclose it on here. It's not high at all, but because of my appearance and what I look like, the assumption of men that I entertain or I attempt to pursue, vice versa, they're always like, I don't believe you. And it's like, well, why not? How come?
It's tough to believe that women don't have a high body count as women get older and older.
No,
You're
not-
24,
not
so
about that. It's just like from my like appearance, It's like with
They
the
assume
way
it?
that yeah, it's always like she's lying, and it's like I'm really not.
well,
But
again, guys know that women have so many options. Maybe there's guys that you run into that they think you have so many options, and that you got, based in the
I don't-
position that you are, in the situation that you are, at your job, in the type of job that you're in, they think that you get those opportunities more often than not.
right, but
That's probably why they see it that way.
It's like an agitating thing to always kind of correct people or tell them like, hold on, let me fix what you're about to say, because it kind of feels good too, because it makes you different and makes me stand out in a way. I'm not like everyone else, and that's why for my age, the way that I think, I have something there. It's working.
It's awesome.
My closing question is,
Here we go.
when,
Here we
because
go again.
you're in that setting, right? You're in
Yeah.
that club setting.
Yeah.
You see it all, right?
Yes.
Obviously, other than when you're working, but hey, everything's in front of you. You see a lot of action. Do you find yourself more attracted to men that are alongside other women, maybe a girlfriend or a woman that they meet and they connect, or do you feel attracted more to the guy that's standing in the corner drinking the beer, or the guy that's just by himself? He comes up, maybe starts talking to you. Who do you feel more attracted to? Who do you have the tendency to radiate to?
Probably the loner, with the beer.
The loner with the beer.
Yeah. Because if another one, look,
That's rare. That's rare.
a woman, especially a girl like me, if I see a woman that just walked up to a guy at the club, she's pursuing him, I can go up there and he will buy me a drink. I can get absolutely anything I want out of him. Will I do that? No, because that's me stepping on her toes and it's bad karma. But someone that's kind of alone, it's also not just about pursuing. You can bump into someone, maybe they're not the best dressed, but maybe they work, in the financial district. And maybe you can just have a good conversation. I primarily really like going out, especially when I started at a young age, not to hook up, not to have one night stands, but to actually make connections. And people are pretty cool, you'd be surprised.
That's rare to see, so good for you. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. That's what you do. Good for you, because not a lot of women go out, with that regard. They go out and things are happening. A lot of things, get in bed easy. All this stuff is happening because women have a lot of options. As you said, you have 100 DMs. Guys don't get 100 DMs like that. And the fact that you haven't responded to those DMs says that it doesn't matter to you. It's just another person. I'm sure you'd rather have somebody meet you in person versus just DM you, because it's probably a little.
If you really are trying to pursue me, you can, ring me a couple of times. You could, but
they have to meet.
It has to. No, but I also like when a man really pushes.
Persistent?
But he can't be like a Jeffrey Dahmer, he has to be.
Yeah, creep or
He
something.
has to be normal. What are you gonna click?
No, I'm not going to click anything.
But I don't know.
All right, that's good.
You guys have any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Any final thoughts? I said my final question. So, what do you think?
How was your first experience on our podcast? And are you coming back? Because we would love to have you.
I am gonna come back.
Cool.
I'm
All
not
right,
gonna
let's
come
go.
back alone either. I think this was a great experience.
All right.
I enjoy it here. It's very peaceful, calm, smooth, good questions.
Any socials you want to put out there? Any
Yeah,
pages that
any-
you want to?
Yes.
Any business?
Where
you
can
wanna
they
put out?
find you?
You can find me on my Instagram. Camera's right here. Eyes on me.
Right here. This camera.
Instagram is at KLA with 3 V's. And that's it.
That's it. You
My,
don't.
my links are in the bio, and no, they're not OnlyFans links. I make beats. I make music. Please tap in.
Nice. What kind of music do you make so that people know?
Oh my God, I think I just turned this off.
No, it'll
No,
stay.
we could-
It'll stay.
I
Can you hear
could-
yourself?
You're good. I can.
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah, good.
I could sing and I can rap a little bit, but we're still waiting. I'm gonna have a project probably come out within the next month. Actually, no one knows about this.
Cool.
Cool.
So you guys are the first.
Nice.
So
Here on the podcast, guys, first. So there we go.
yeah.
Well, if you
Nice.
want, if it's ready by the next time you come by, we could actually play a little sample if you're up for it. Up to you, but
That sounds good.
Absolutely. It's an opportunity for you to put yourself in front of the people, as you've done for the last hour, 20 minutes with us. So we appreciate you coming on and joining us and having a great conversation.
yeah, I really like the way it's going with guests because you get another perspective, a female perspective, and it gives us the chance to kind of talk about these things. So we appreciate you coming on. Thank you everyone for watching. Please make sure
Thank
to
you,
like, share, and
guys.
subscribe. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one.
See you next time, guys. Peace.